This is part 2 of the frogodile tutorial, and on this part we are going to add a color balance to his head right here to try and mimic the green color of the frog or make it blend in a little bit better. We're also going to extend this shadow down here, and he's going to look more like a frogodile if one ever existed. So one thing that I didn't get to tell you in the last tutorial was about naming layers. And what's really important about naming your layers correctly, you can see down here in the layers window, what's important about naming them is organization. It gets really difficult when you have a Photoshop file that has maybe 12, 15 layers or something like that, to be able to see what those layers are if they're named just layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. In a project like this, it's not so bad because we're only going to have 2 or 3 layers. It's really easy to see. But sometimes the pictures in these preview windows are really small, so you want to make sure that you name your layers correctly. And it's really easy to name a layer. All you do is have that layer selected, double click on the words of that layer, and then you'll be able to change it. So we want to select everything that's in this crocodile layer to bring up our marching ants, and we do that by holding down Control and clicking on the picture in that layer. That will bring up our marching ants around everything in that layer. Then we're going to add an adjustment layer. So this icon right here, adjustment layer, and then color balance. This is going to bring up this tab here, and I can just pull this out here so we can see a little bit better, where you can adjust the color on just that part. And so we're going to adjust the green a little bit. I don't want to make it too bright. I want to kind of blend it in, and then increase the yellow a bit, just to about there. So it makes it's not an exact color, but we don't want it to be the exact color. We want it to blend in just a bit more. And so that looks pretty good. So what it did that we didn't want it to do was it kind of created this yellow inside of the mouth. You could do a layer mask and get rid of that, but an easy way to get rid of it is to use your eraser tool and just erase that part of the color balance layer. And that'll bring the pink back in the area of his mouth and tongue so it doesn't look quite as yellow and bright as the rest of it. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is extend the shadow that's underneath his neck. You could use the clone stamp tool for this, but I want to show you another tool. This tool is called the burn tool. And the thing about the burn tool is, again, it's much like a crayon. The more you go over it, the darker it will become. And so with that burn tool, we're going to get the right size. That's pretty good. So you're going to simply hold down your mouse, and we need to be on the background layer. I should know that. On the background layer, and you're just going to click and drag to create this shadow effect. And then you want to make sure you go over this darker area even more. Now you don't want to extend past the mouth because then that's not going to look very realistic. You kind of want to blend this in a little bit. But it creates a shadow. Now you'll see it kind of shows some of the specks that were in the background. It brings those out a bit. An easy way to cover that up is to use your clone stamp tool and simply cover those areas. Oop, not that. Oops. And then I'm just going to blend this in a little bit because I did it a little too dark. Okay, so it's an easy way to create a shadow. So that completes our frogodile. And you need to save this as frogodile.psd to your network folder and then submit that. See you next time.